Welcome to F.L.O.W with Yami, where my F.L.O.W stands for faith, love, optimism, and wisdom. I am going to start today with a question. And the question is, have you ever had that feeling that no matter what you do, it just doesn't feel like it's enough? You keep moving forward, you handle all your responsibilities, you work, you grow, but you try to stay on track. But yet, internally, there's this quiet pressure that keeps whispering, I should be further by now. Why don't I feel satisfied? What am I missing? If that internal tension feels familiar, stay with me. Because today I'll be talking about something deeply human and a feeling of never quite feeling good enough. And we're going to explore this the F.L.O.W way. Before we move into F.L.O.W, we need to understand what actually happens beneath this feeling. The feeling of not good enough rarely comes from lack of ability. More often, it comes from how the mind measures your worth. Your brain quietly creates moving targets. I should be doing more. I should be feeling more accomplished. I should be somewhere else by now. And because these targets have no fixed endpoint, satisfaction keeps moving further and further away. Not because you're failing, but because the internal measuring system that you use feels unstable. When enough is undefined, you can never arrive to that destination. So how do we stabilize something that feels internally exhausting? There's where F.L.O.W becomes a powerful method. And I'm sharing this because I too am that person that I always want to achieve more, but F.L.O.W keeps me kind of grounded. Let's start with faith. Faith is actually what grounds me. Faith interrupts the illusion that your worth must be constantly proven. Without faith, the mind usually asks, am I doing enough to justify my value? With faith, the question kind of shifts. It asks us, can I trust that my value is not dependent on constant achievement? Faith stabilizes identity. It reminds you that your worth is not recalculated daily by productivity, comparison, or external validation. Because when worth feels conditional, anxiety becomes inevitable. But even with faith, many people remain deeply harsh with themselves, which brings me to the next piece. Love. Love here is not abstract. It is how you internally relate to yourself. Many capable, responsible adults live with an exhausting inner dialogue. I am kind of like this too. Not there yet, not enough yet, should be better, should be doing more. But love softens the internal environment. When we start loving ourselves and we're finding who we truly are, our internal dialogue changes, not by lowering our ambition, but by removing the constant internal tension and self-pressure, because growth thrives in safety, not in psychological threat. Once pressure softens, perception begins to change, and this is where clarity starts to return. And it takes me to my next step, optimism. When you feel not good enough, your brain selectively magnifies what's missing, who seems ahead, and you imagine deficiencies. But optimism restores that balance. It allows you to recognize the progress you've already made, the strengths that you possess, and the possibilities that are still unfolding. Optimism is not forced positivity. It's cognitive stability. And finally, F.L.O.W requires something deeply practical, which is W for wisdom. Wisdom means refusing unstable measures of self-worth. Instead of measuring yourself by comparison, imagined timelines, and invisible expectations, wisdom asks, what is objectively true, what progress is real, and what standards are actionable and reasonable. Wisdom removes the distortion. It stabilizes how you evaluate yourself and your life. But the most powerful thing is realizing that the feeling of not being good enough often survives because we thought that something was missing. Your mind has learned to measure incorrectly. Nothing in reality is lacking of you, but your perception, the perception you created, has become distorted by pressure, comparison, and invisible standards. I'm not saying that F.L.O.W eliminates ambition. It just removes the unnecessary internal suffering. If you're like me and you've been carrying the feeling of never being enough, pause before believing it. Pause before pushing harder. Pause before assuming you must become more to be worthy, because your value was never designed to be earned through exhaustion. Peace begins when identity is no longer measured by impossible standards. This is F.L.O.W with Yami. Remember, you don't have to force your life forward. You don't have to chase validation. You don't have to become someone else. Move with faith, act with clarity, decide with peace. Let's go out and flow. If you like this content, please follow me. And if you think someone will benefit from listening to this message, please share with them.